Hello and what is up everybody, welcome back to another video, and this one is going to be about Team Liquid because my last video on Team Liquid did pretty well on this channel, so I might as well make another one, right? That's how that works. I hope people are still searching TI7 and videos of Team Liquid, but this one's probably not going to be as clickbaity. I'm going to be focusing on how Liquid play in the early game, doing a little bit of analysis on that, as well as specifically GH's IO, a hero that no team at the main event allowed Team Liquid to get. I don't think they didn't play a single game of IO, and in every single game it was banned out first by enemy teams. And I think they are hands down the best IO team right now. The way they run the hero along with the rest of their lineup is just super hard to deal with, and we'll see it here. And the way they do like to run IO is as a dual lane mid. I mean, this is a common playstyle for the hero, as he used to be played with heroes like Tiny mid and things like that, but now you see Team Liquid, they're gonna run a dual lane mid here with Morphling and IO. Morphling is not really a hero you think that goes with the hero that well, because he doesn't really have that much kill potential in terms of having a disable of any kind. I guess he does have a stun with his adaptive strike, but usually Morphlings don't level that up until later. But in terms of just being able to trade, which is what IO is also really good at doing, because he just goes for a bottle. Notice GH started with no items and he rushed the bottle as fast as he could here. He can just constantly regen and keep Miracle at full HP. And notice how much regen they're actually using here. They're making sure to trade effectively with QO as well as the Clockwork here. They're just trading back and forth, but right now, since he's on his last bottle charge, he's going to save it. Miracle can be topped off with it, but right now he's just going to make sure that he still has that regen to save Miracle if anything goes wrong. And that's one thing I want to note about GH's IO, is he always has some type of regen. He's the only IO I've seen that has actually ferried out salves to himself multiple times, and always makes sure that he has at least one salve, or sometimes even a clarity in his inventory to be able to use, and he save his carry, which most of the time he will be playing with Miracle. I think they've run IO and Morph, as well as another hero. I forgot what it was. I know they did IO and Morph multiple times, even before TI. I did watch a couple of games where they played the combo, and it was pretty effective. It might have been at Dream League, I think. I don't remember, but anyway, as we see here, he did get the rune. Notice Kuroki's positioning as well. He's playing in this top area. They picked Ursa specifically to be able to just lane against the Underlord. He's very strong matchup against that hero. Notice that Ursa's even gonna get the first blood there. Just 1v1 solo. That will be a solo kill from a Tama man. And ooh, Q almost goes down. I want to go back and watch that kill. Actually, nah. So the way they're even able to even pressure the Queen of Pain like that at all is because they trade so well. They make sure that they equally just trade the harass back and forth. The Queen of Pain, IO takes some hits, the Morphling takes some hits, and then he just bottles up. And you can't win that war against IO because he's regening up two heroes, and Morphling's getting even a little bit more regen than he is because of how Tether works. And with that, I mean, QO can try to trade to the best of his ability, because otherwise he'll just get pot shotted for free. So he does have to hit back, right? Or he can just stand really far back and not trade at all, but in that sense he'll just let Miracle take over the lane, and he doesn't want to do that either. And one thing about playing a carry in the mid lane is there's actually one extra creep, so Miracle is getting a little bit more farm than he would have if he was just to go safe lane. And notice that Kuroki is also just playing in the mid area. This is one thing to note. Liquid are very fluid with their heroes. They kind of always know where to be and when to show up at certain spots. I notice Kuroki at the 4-minute mark will stand at the rune. He's also stacking. They're really good at that. You even saw like one game in the TI, I think losers bracket finals or the grand finals, where Matama Man and Mind Control actually ended up laning together just because that was actually their best option at that point, was for the two core heroes to actually lane together for a little bit. I think it was a Lycan and a Venomancer or something like that, and Mind Control took a supporting position for a second just to make sure that they can get their laning stage going. And they're one of the few teams that can move around so fluidly in lane like this. If you look at a lot of the Chinese teams, they're more static with what they do. In a sense, I mean, they do move around and make rotations, of course, because that's just the meta right now. No team is really just trying to static tri-lane anymore. A lot of roaming heroes will start mid and things like that, and then eventually rotate around. But with Liquid, like, they'll rotate around like all their heroes, and they'll make really quick movements in the early game. That's why a hero like Nature's Prophet fits their playstyle so well. And right now, we're seeing the salve from GH under effect as he's able to heal up Miracle. Unfortunately, he gets cancelled there by the Rocket Flare, but as I said before, he always likes to have that pocket salve to make sure that he can heal Miracle up. And at this point, Morphling has hit level 5, which is a bit of a power spike for the hero. I'd say even level 4, as he's strong enough to like clear out a wave with his waveform now. And of course, with the infinite regen pretty much from GH, well, it's not infinite, but amount of regen that he has, he can just spam out the wave and then go farm jungle afterwards or something like that. GH actually using his orbs here to help push out the wave. They don't want to lane anymore necessarily, just want to maximize their farm. Of course, they can still kind of trade back and forth with Q a little bit, as you see a gank here happen onto Mind Control. And it will be going through over most of this replay. I'll speed up after the early game or when Liquid get really far ahead, because at that point there's not much more to see. As once you get that far ahead with the IO lineup, the game is kind of just over. And just notice here, 6 minutes in the game, Matama Man already making a rotation, finds a kill there onto DJ, and he's continuing to move and invade the safe lane with the advantage they got solo lane against the Underlord. He's not going to just sit in the safe lane and try to press his advantage even more against the Underlord. He's just trying to shut down other heroes, most notably the Troll. And notice right away the Troll actually end up TPing bottom. Miracle actually end up going down here to the burst damage from QO. That's quite unfortunate, and they don't play the cleanest early game this game. So I watched this replay before, and they did feed a couple of kills here and there. This wasn't the perfect early game, but they definitely got really far ahead with a couple of really nice plays that I don't quite remember what happens, but I do kind of remember that it starts out even for a little bit, and then eventually Liquid pull very far ahead. But right now, notice GH putting a lot of his gold just into regen. He'll even buy some wards to help out Kuroki a little bit. And again, the pocket salve in the inventory, making sure that he has that backup regen, because sometimes 3 bottle charges actually isn't enough. I think Miracle bought his own salve there, and he'll use it onto GH now. And with this salve, they're actually able to tank the tower with Miracle and take this tier 1 very quickly. And this is a huge deal. This is opening up a lot of map control for Liquid, and there's the other salve in effect as well. Without both salves there, I mean, Miracle would actually be kind of low HP now, and since the rune spawn bottom, they're not even going to have the rune available to heal up. But now they can actually heal up with the Witch Doctor heal as well. Again, the sustain in this game is insane, as Matama Man, the reason why he did rotate to the top lane is he wanted to be in position to go for Roshan if he ever had the opportunity to. And just notice the fast movement of Liquid right now. It's 6 minutes in the game, and Matama Man has already made a rotation on his safe lane, and as well as trying to attempt a rush. Unfortunately, it gets scouted out there by the Clockwork, and it will be thwarted, but they do kill the Clockwork. Bottom lane does go down as a Troll TP down there, but they'll take that trade, as the bottom lane isn't really the biggest problem losing that tower for Liquid, because with an Ursa lineup, they want to play around with Sean, and Ursa doesn't really want to play like bottom lane any time, like ever, actually, after the laning stage. So it's not that big of a deal. And with Morphling being able to split push really well, he can go in the bottom lane, and he doesn't really need that tower to be there so that a teammate can come in and support him. He's pretty mobile, and he should be able to escape from most situations unless he gets static storm. Morphling's also pretty good hero against Clockwork, as Clockwork has almost no kill potential on the Morphling. Without like a lot of help, because he can lock down Morphling for a little bit, but it's really not enough, and Morphling could always just waveform away, replicant away, and they will finally clean up Roshan here. Notice GH again has another salve in his inventory. Looks like he might go down here, and they even will lose Metal Man twice, and I do remember this watching the replay. Yeah, the early game goes well for them, but they do feed a lot of kills away, but the kills aren't that meaningful. Again, getting that Aegis this early doesn't really do much for them in terms of like being able to press their advantage with Aegis, but getting that kill and getting the experience and gold from it was, I would say, good enough. And even though they lose all their heroes, Fnatic did have to commit a decent amount for that. I mean, it's still not the best, but it's not the worst trade in the world. Like, it's not a disaster or anything. As Miracle is still farming well, and right now, notice that GH has left his side for a little bit. He's playing more around Kuroki and Matumman, and they have like this 3-man squad that's actually fairly strong. Fnatic, if they ever want to fight against these 3 heroes, they really have to commit a lot, because the amount of healing coming out from the Witch Doctor and the Io is pretty ridiculous, and Ursa is very strong with Io tethered up to him. But now it looks like GH will rotate to Miracle, as he's sensing some danger here. But Miracle will get himself away, and I think GH will just go back to his other teammates. So one of the reasons why Liquid play a early game so well is their ability to just find the right movements. So I was talking before about how they were able to like know when to be somewhere and where to be at the right time, but they also know like how the game will play out pretty clearly. So notice right now their game plan is for Miracle to get farmed, right? And for Metalman to try to split push and draw attention, and anytime they can find an opening, because as I said before, they can't really fight into Liquid, or Fnatic can't fight into Liquid in small groups. They really need large numbers, otherwise like Relocate starts coming out, and these heroes just are pretty mobile still. I don't think Ursa has a blink yet, but he will shortly. He actually has a Mask of Madness, and he'll just get a kill there onto Kyo alone. Relocate does come out just to attempt to secure it, but it wasn't actually even needed. But it's not bad, as he's actually able to leave Miracle up here for a tower push. And again, all of Liquid's players are really good at like finding these kills. Like, when do you see an Ursa get a solo kill onto Queen of Pain without a blink dagger? And you can even just watch that kill again. I wonder what Kyo is looking at from his perspective, actually. So he was just pushing the tower, and the Tubman Man coming from behind. Yeah, it was just a really good gank, because he really cut off all his routes, right? Let's say Kyo was to just blink away like this, the Relocate could come in as well. So just approaching from this angle, and realizing he could approach from this angle and go for that kill, and he could get it, is well played there from the Tubman Man. Mask of Madness helped out a lot there as well. But we'll go back to watching GH. So he ended up relocating Miracle to the top lane, which will allow him to take the tower and secure it. Underlord had the TP up there, and I think he's stuck in the tree, so he might end up going down. No, he's fine. He has his ultimate to get him out. But after that, Liquid have claimed a big advantage. Keep in mind, they've only lost one tower, and that was a tower they were completely willing to lose. As if you notice, like, they didn't care about it at all. They're like, alright, bottom tower, who cares? But Tubman TP from the bottom lane 6 minutes onto the top shrine, and from there they just ignored the bottom lane. They will defend their bottom tier 2, but their bottom tier 1 is not of much importance to them, and they're willing to lose it in the early game for that early Roshan. Unfortunately, the Rosh didn't really amount into anything other than that gold and experience that they got, because they lost Aegis and even lost Ursa twice right away. But again, notice it's 13 minutes in the game, and GH is still buying salves. The thing about IO is you don't always want to use your bottle charges to just heal heal casually, because it's not really the best healing. It's good in like a defensive scenario where you're trying to save a hero because it's a small, but let's say small, it's a decent amount of healing per charge. Restores 90 and 60 mana over 2.5 seconds, and of course that's multiplied by 1.5 times on the hero that he's tethered to. But a salve is just more value in terms of just trying to heal a large amount, because you don't want to just expend multiple bottle charges because they're not that easy to replenish. A bounty rune will only give you 2, and the rune spawns on either side, and you can't really waste that much time moving back and forth. That's the thing with IR, right? Every time you're moving and trying to pick up runes and things like that, you're putting yourself in position to maybe get ganked, or you're putting yourself out of position from the carry to not be able to respond with a relocate or a tether heal or something like that. So he'd like to primarily preserve his bottle charges as well as have the salve in case he's already out of bottle charges. There's a lot of reasonings behind that, and I do think it's really legit, and I think more IO players should consider it, because I think GH is really the only one who's doing it right now. I can't really think of another IO player that does. A lot of other IOs just rely on their burn charges and their bottle charges. So GH ends up going down, but while I was talking about bottle charges and casual salves, they went for the relocate gank there. Miracle was again left up in the top lane to take the tower. Again, it's just small ganks into towers is what Liquid are going for right now. Oh man, this is going off. He gets a kill there onto DJ, or he actually doesn't get the kill, but Nature's Prophet Ultimate will come through and finish him off. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Troll Warlord runs into Mind Control, but he gets out of there no problem. And notice that Mind Control's item build here, and Liquid are pretty good on their itemization as well. Mind Control will vary his item build from a game-by-game basis, and this is not that common among players. You see most times a player will get used to an item build and they'll go it every single game pretty much, but with Liquid, they do vary. I did notice that depending on the game, Mind Control builds different items on his heroes, most notably the Nature's Prophet. Same thing with Matama Man. I don't think Mask of Madness is his go-to every single game on Ursa, but I think it's really good in this game as it allows him to have really high DPS, which will force any hero back, and they can't man up on him, right? Especially if he has his ultimate off, and they'll just be forced to run. And once they run in a predictable direction, the relocate can come in, and the TP can come in from the Nature's Prophet, and it can be finished off. And with Mind Control going for the Orchid Rush this game, you can get that silence on the Queen of Pain. The harder to catch heroes can even silence the Disruptor and get kills. And now Underlord is pretty much rendered useless, and Liquid's draft will start to pay off here. How much? We don't have much longer in the game at all. I'm going to speed up right now because the early game is pretty much concluded. Now you see Liquid with about a 5,000 gold advantage. Next, Roshan is going to be their goal. It's going to spawn in about 2 minutes from now, I would say. I think that's when it actually spawns. Now the Morphling also has the Lincoln Sphere, and is really hard to kill, so he can't get glimpsed back into his Static Storm. Again, of course, Disruptor has his other ability to cancel the Lincolns, but it's a lot shorter range than Glimpse, of course. And with an easily set up gank here in the top lane, they will probably head into Rush once it spawns. Yeah, it is 2 minutes, but they're making sure they keep control of this top area. Bottom lane, notice they let the bottom tier 2 go. They don't really care too much about this bottom lane area, as it is not how they're going to win the game. Roshan is the big play, and they're making sure to have really good control over this area next to Roshan, as you're going to have wards here, and they're going to go for kills. And that's a full 5-man wipe as Liquid entirely take over the game. And notice Fnatic is being picked apart. In a full 5-on-5, their lineup isn't that bad. They have pretty decent team fight with the Underlord. But again, Underlord, even though he has a global ability, he's kind of immobile, as he's pretty slow and clunky, and he can't really move around that fast. And as a result, you know, Liquid are just forcing heroes left and right, of course, to have one of the best split pushers in the game, Nature's Prophet and Morphling. So anytime a hero shows up to try to defend against one of these pushes from Nature's Prophet or Morphling, they're looking for kills with Matama Man, and Kuroki is there just to provide the wards and help support. He does, of course, provide a disable as well, but he's never really the initiation. It's always Matama Man jumping in there, creating space, and then the follow-up comes in from the rest of the team. And then continuing with Mind Control item build, he goes for the Shadow Blade. This will help him split push a little bit better. Still have to have detection to try to kill him, as well as set up ganks, most importantly. And probably the primary reason that he goes for this item. And again, Liquid just waiting for Roshan. They're playing in the side force, as the Chinese Reddit post translation, whatever, says. And it's really strong what they can do right now, as Mikey True can constantly sit up here. Fnatic can never push too far out. Matama Man is already at work on Roshan, and I'm gonna go to free cam a little bit to show you, but Fnatic is being restricted to like this area of the map at this point. They've lost all their towers, they can't farm much, and at this point they're getting out farmed significantly. Like Troll Warlord can farm the jungle, I guess. Queen of Pain can never push this far out. Notice he just pushed this wave up to here and he's done. Actually backed off. The Troll Warlord will come up and farm it. As with the Orchid coming out from the Nature's Prophet, if he ever shows up, Relocate can come in, the Silence comes out, and he has no way to deal with the Silence. He went for an aggressive build himself, and as a result, he is not going to be able to farm at all. And of course, Matama Man literally can kill anybody at this point. He has a Basher. He actually didn't even take the Aegis. He gives the Aegis to Miracle. Instead, he will actually take the cheese. And at this point, Liquid are feeling far enough ahead that they can actually just end the game. They're going to push 2 lanes in, of course, for the Nature's Prophet, and then the rest of these heroes. And actually, you're probably just going to send Miracle to hit the tower with the Aegis. And the main reason they probably put the Aegis onto Miracle instead of Matama Man is he will be the building winner. It's a nice relocate out from GH. The cheese goes off, everybody's dead, and this will be racked, and it will be game. So, as the video ends here, pretty much GG's actually called immediately there by Fnatic. They realized they had no chance. I like to recap a little bit about the points in this video, which is Liquid and their early game. With the IO specifically, notice how they're able to take over the map. Any opportunity they could find, they're able to push Fnatic back. As you notice, they didn't really get that many kills in the early game. They actually lost a lot of kills to Fnatic early on, especially at the Rosh Pit. But the amount of pressure they're put onto each lane with the Nature's Prophet and Morphling forced Fnatic around the map, and it was just a couple of key pickoffs. Like, it didn't look like they were entirely taking over the game, like in terms of just getting a crap ton of kills. But the reason why the game ends up ending so quickly, I mean, the score does look bad at the end of the game, but like 10 minutes, 12 minutes in there, it was not that steep. Like, it was only like about a 2,000. We can even just see the graphs here. Yeah, so about 10 minutes in, it was about, I would say there's like a 3,000, 2,000 lead, which is significant, but it's actually for 10 minutes. Still quite significant, but it's not the largest lead you've ever seen, right? But just with their lineup, it matters so much, because the IO is going to be able to have global pressure as well as the Nature's Prophet. And with global heroes like IO and Nature's Prophet, if you win the early game that hard, you can highly shut the map away from the enemy team, and that's what they did. So Fnatic tried to get anything out of the map by trying to farm it aggressively or move out, and they were punished for it. Matama Man was in good positions to find the pickoffs, and they were able to relocate, get a kill, and then immediately notice that was 2 ganks in a row, I think, where they transition a kill straight into a tier 1, transition a kill straight into a tier 2, and with that, Fnatic lost all sense of map control, and the second Roshan came easily to Liquid. there was not even a fight over it, and with that second Aegis, they're actually able to just end the game. So first key point is to win the early game with a hero like Io, you need to play a certain way. Like a lot of times people think of Io, it's mostly like with a Tiny again or a CK or something like that, and you just get a bunch of kills and then you win the game, right? But with Liquid, they really like the hero in terms of its not only global potential, its safe potential, and most importantly, I think the reason why they value the hero so highly is what he can do in the early game. No other support can provide this amount of sustain and regen. Like the other healers, such as like Dazzle, I guess, and alright, hold on, I need to look at the heroes. I guess that's the only one. I mean, Witch Doctor is also a healer, but he was also in this game. So with Io and Witch Doctor, the amount of sustain that they have was insane. And at this point, like, there was no chance of Fnatic trying to take an early game fight at that point, just because if Io just tethers someone with the Witch Doctor heal going on, they can't really kill anybody. I mean, they were able to find some kills, but that was only at the Rosh Pit when Liquid put themselves in a pretty vulnerable position. If they were set up at all with like their squad of heroes, it was impossible for Fnatic to try to play aggressive, so their only option was to farm, and if they farm, they were going to get picked off by the Ursa and the global lineup of Team Liquid. So with the draft and how they played it, they completely shut down Fnatic. Their options were not many, and with that they took a really fast victory. So I think that this hero Io, I mean, most pro teams don't even understand the hero fully, but it seems like GH and Liquid have a very good grasp on what they can do with the hero, the limits that they can take it, and with that, every single team at TI feared their Io, and it definitely, I don't say contributed to them winning TI because they actually didn't play it once, but just having one ban always geared towards you allows you to draft a lot more freely, right? Because Kuroki actually just has like technically one more hero, because I guess Io is removed from the game, but he'll have one more hero over other teams that don't play Io. So there's that. There was kind of like EG at TI5 where Techies was getting banned out against them, and it just helps you out in your drafting. Like you don't get to play that hero, which kind of sucks, but then your drafting is just more open, because if you're just playing against another team, you literally just have one more. Like if you're putting themselves, like if I'm trying to word this so it makes sense, like if you're looking at Liquid as if they're like another team that doesn't play Io, it's like that other team just having an extra pick, right? Because Io is banned instead of some other hero. I hope that made sense. But that's gonna be it for this video. How long is it? Oh crap, it's a little bit too long. 30 minutes, whatever. We're not gonna prolong this anymore, so that's gonna be it for this video. And if you guys enjoyed, leave a like down below, and if you like this type of content and want to see more of it in the future, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next one.